Hi, anyone and everyone. This is Kim, the Humble Hermit, with Come As You Are Oracle. I'm going to do a collective oracle for today. Today is Saturday, March 8th, 2025. You may follow me on the book, the talk, the tube, the lemonade, the blue sky social, the fan base, or not. Totally up to you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it doesn't fit, don't make it fit. If some of it fits, fabulous. We love that for you. Whatever does not fit, please just leave it on the table for someone else. You don't need to take on energy that wasn't meant for you. We're going to use the What's the Tea deck. I got mine off Amazon. Right now, I'm in an Amazon blackout for buying because I'm, protesting the man. But I did find another deck on there. It's similar. I think it just says the tea or something like that. It's similar, but it's not the same. And I have it in my cart, or I think I saved it to one of my lists. But yeah, I found it just before. I think I found it on Wednesday, maybe. I think it's like $18, $17, something like that. I was gonna order it, and then I ordered I ordered 3 other decks instead. I actually just got them. I just brought them in from outside, so I will play with those later. We got 1 on the table, 2 on the table. Three on the table. Four on the table. Five on the table. Woo! Thank you for that confirmation. Because I was like, what is this card? Like, is this them? Is this you? Who is this? And then there we go. Confirmation. Or at least it's confirmation in my eyes. I don't know. I don't know. We got 6 on the table. Seven on the table. 8 on the table. Why am I hearing I'm not even hearing words, but like ragtime music? Where it's just sound like it's I don't I think I've channeled this before. Yeah, I've channeled it before because I've talked about it before. It was an episode of Seinfeld where Elaine um was listening to the music on the radio to guess the songs for Mr. Pitt so he could be in was it the Thanksgiving Day parade or something like that? The Woody Woodpecker, I think, float or something like that. And she was guessing the music for him and calling in for him, or he was calling in, whatever. But I'm hearing like the music, like you would play on those old xylophones or whatever. God, I think I channeled something about xylophones a couple weeks ago, I thought. Somebody might be into old music, or maybe like when they were a kid, that kind of music was popular. This might be an older person. I mean, I'm 44. Sometimes I consider myself old, sometimes I don't. But I mean, I know what ragtime music is. I've heard it. I like it. I love to listen to music. So, like, for me, it wouldn't be, like, oh, it's brand new. I've never heard it. So if this person is even maybe like 5-10 years older than me, which isn't that old, they would probably know ragtime music. And if you're younger, but your parents were exposed to it and your parents exposed you to it, you would know, It's hard to say because, like, I talk to people all the time that have no idea, like, who Bon Jovi is, but then, like, they know Cyndi Lauper, or they know Tina Turner, or they know the Carpenters, or they know the Byrds. You know what I mean? Like, some people know some things and some people don't know others. It is what it is. I was lucky enough to be exposed to like all kinds of music. My dad loved, I think I've talked to you guys about this. My dad loved like 50s and 60s, and my mom loved disco, and she loved 80s, and I was born in 80s, so I got exposed to all that. And I love all that. I love music. Funny, when I was married to the ex-husband, his brother-in-law, his sister's second husband, we were all in the car together, and he was talking about, was it Pink? Like being a joke or something, like something about like, oh, that's not music or something like that. And I got offended, not necessarily because of Pink, because I mean, I like Pink, some stuff I don't. And I go through periods like where I love it and I don't love it. You know what I mean? But it's funny because I got offended because I love all music. Like I'm a lover of all music. I think I've told you guys before. Like I have Italian opera on my playlist, French songs that I don't even really understand technically, but I love the melody. I love the voices. Like I love music, the beat, the tempo, everything about music, any type of music. My least favorite, I'm not going to lie, is metal, because if I can't understand what you're saying and it doesn't like resonate with me, then I lose interest. And metal typically tends to be the one that I lose interest in the most. But I'll still listen to it, and there's some songs that are coherent enough, you know what I mean? Like there's some metal songs that I love. But he had made this comment about Pink and, like, oh, they're not real singers, they're not real artists. And he's part time in a band. He has been for a very long time. And kudos to him for working so hard. But I was offended, and I literally said, well, if you were a real lover of music, sir, you would love all types of music. And he shut up, as he should. Because I don't know how you consider yourself a musician and you only like two types of music. Like, get over yourself. We got 9 on the table. I love him dearly. He's actually a very sweet guy, but that really ticked me off. Really ticks me off. Okay, 2 more shuffles. We got 9 on the table. Spent 9 minutes talking about BS. Okay, so this is interesting. I mean, this is the same old song and dance, I feel like, but this, I don't know. Yeah, okay, I'm going to set this over here. We got 10 with bottom of the deck. We've got kissing ass. Stalker. We got no facts. We got ignoring, which is the card I was questioning, plus unbothered. We've got ego. We've got obsessive lover. Moving on. Shine. And bottom of the deck, inside scoop. All right. So feminine, masculine, take how it resonates. It doesn't matter. I tell you that every day. Electrolyte drink. I had my holes stretched, so I have bigger little, well, I guess earrings. I call them tubies. Because that's how technical I am. Look at my tubies. To stretch out my lobes. And my ears were so swollen last night and even this morning. Now they've tapered down a bit, and I realize I need to drink more water. This is like my third cup of water. And I drank a shit ton of water yesterday too. Like 80 ounces of water yesterday. I usually only drink like 60. Okay, so don't get offended. And I'm going to say this is you and someone else because it's just easier for me to do that as opposed to try and be like, oh, this person and that person. No. Okay, so I'm just going to say you. If it's not you, it's not you. If it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. That's fine. Maybe the next one will. But don't get offended when I say this. You might have been in a relationship with someone where you were kissing their ass. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like you were up their ass, like you were like codependent. It could have just been like you got together with somebody, you were dating somebody. I mean, it could have even been a casual friends with benefits, but you like them, and you liked hanging out with them and you liked talking to them and you liked being with them physically, all that jazz. Maybe, like when you met them, like, pardon me, maybe you would bring them a coffee when you would meet them. Maybe you bought them a present once or twice. Maybe you complimented them. Maybe you were just a nice person. And this person, I'm just going to say it, this stalker, I'm going to refer to them as the stalker. And this person, this stalker, later on was like, ha ha ha, I was with this person and they were an ass kisser, they were trying to get me to love them, kind of like you guys had a good thing when you had it, and then when you broke up, this person like talks shit about you behind your back. This stalker was like, oh yeah, they bought me gifts and I never bought them a fucking thing. What a fucking sucker. Kind of like that. I said this yesterday too. It's just a nasty attitude. It's a nasty attitude. Like, people don't need to be like that. People really don't need to be like that. And when the two of you broke up, you might have even felt bad that you did things for them that you realize, like, oh, I should have never done that for them. Like, I never should have bought them that. I never should have taken them out to dinner. Like, afterwards you just felt regret, like you put in too much energy, you got nothing back, and you kind of feel like you were duped. You kind of feel like you were an idiot. I'm here to say you're not an idiot. I'm here to say people do that all the time because they're kind, caring, giving people. I did that. I have done that many times. Many times. And it's funny because the guy that I was with for the 4 or 5 months in 2023, the one that just swung back around like a month ago, when we were together, when we got together, and granted, we started out as friends with benefits. I wanted more. He really didn't want more. He said we could try for more, but it wasn't happening. Like, we weren't in a relationship. I bought him one thing while we were together. In those 4 or 5 months, I bought him one thing, and it was a Lego keychain that I found at the Lego store of a little Lego figure dressed as a llama. He likes what are they called? Not a llama. Oh, what the hell is it called? Not a llama, but people get him confused. An alpaca. He likes alpacas. Very similar to a llama. Not exactly the same, but very similar. So I bought him the keychain. It was like $5, $6, something like that. That was the only thing I ever bought for him. And it's funny because when I got into that like relationship with him, I said to myself, like, I ain't buying this dude shit. Like he's a friends with benefits. I'm not taking him out to dinner. I'm not taking him to a movie. I'm not fixing him dinner. I'm not cleaning his clothes for him. Like, you are my friends with benefits, and that's it. I bought the keychain because I saw it, and I was like, oh, it reminds me of him. I'm going to get it for him. And it's funny because in all my past relationships, almost all my past relationships, I've always been very much a giver, a caring person, and I would buy things for people. They wouldn't even need to ask me, and I would buy them something. And I think a lot of people will take that out of context, right? And they'll be like, oh, you're such an ass kisser. Like, you really want me. You really want my love. You would do anything to get it. The thing is people that would say that don't realize that people like me, people like you, there's a line. There's a line. And when I'm in a relationship with someone, whether that's a lover, a family member, a friend, when I realize that I'm giving more than I get back, and it doesn't even need to be like gifts or spending money, like time, energy. When I realize I'm giving more than I get back, I stop. The only people that I've probably ever made an exception for, my parents, my brother, and the ex-best friend, and the ex-husband when we were together. But I don't feel the need to, like even the ex-husband and I joke about it every so often because, like I ask him, what's going on in his life and what he's doing and all this stuff. And he's always like, he's always buying like these old comic books because, he knows they're going to be worth something one day and he's going to sell it for $1 million. And, he'll joke around and be like, well, if you really, if we were really friends, if we were really still friends, you'd buy me this $1,000 comic book. And we laugh about it and stuff. The funny thing is if we were still married, I probably would figure out a way to buy him that $1,000 comic book. But because we're not, like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not buying you $1,000 comic book. I just bought him and his mom an air fryer. The beautiful air fryer by Drew Barrymore. I ordered it from Walmart. It came this morning. Because he's going to be moving in with his mom now that his grandma is gone, and his son, who he is currently still living with, is going to be living with his girlfriend and her mother until the mother finds a place to live. So I said to him, do you want a new air fryer? Because he had told me his like broke, but then he gave it away to somebody because they said they could fix it or something. I don't know. So I said, do you want a new air fryer? I'll buy you a new air fryer. And he's like, well, I really like yours. He's like, and I was like, you want a Drew Barrymore air fryer? And he's like, well, yeah. He's like, my mom would probably like it. So I bought him the black one. So it looks like more manly, but it's, it's pretty. It's a different style. And I think him and his mom will like it. And I think they'll get a lot of use out of it. And I only spent, with tax, like $74 on it. And I consider that his housewarming present, because I'm sure once he moves in with the mom, he's probably not going to leave. No offense. But yeah, I like I learned a long time ago, like when I see that people don't give back to me, I don't give back to them. I just don't. And it's funny because you'll realize too, when you stop giving to people that don't give anything back, they'll say something. They'll be like, "Well, you used to bring me a coffee, or you used to take me out to dinner once a month, or you used to, send me cookies at Thanksgiving, or you used to do this, that, or the other." And it's like, yeah, dumb fuck. Well, when are you going to send me cookies? When are you going to buy me a coffee? When are you going to take me out to dinner every month? Like, why would I keep doing that if you're not going to do something in return for me? And you can look at it like, oh, Kim, that's tit for tat. You really shouldn't do that in a relationship. Bullshit. Bullshit. I love giving to people. I love buying people things. I love seeing people happy. It brings me joy. It brings me joy. To me, it raises the vibration of everybody on this planet. But there is no way in hell, no way in hell I'm going to keep giving my energy, my time, my money, my thought, my heart to people that don't put in that for me. And when I see that you don't put it in for me, I stop. This stalker is someone that thinks that this person thinks that you did this to like keep them, so you wouldn't lose them. Codependency. Like they think you're codependent. Again, what they don't realize is eventually people get sick and pissed off and they stop doing that, and it's different for every person. Like sometimes it takes people longer, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it depends on the person. Like I said, there's only like 5 people that I used to give to unconditionally. Now I have no one. Now I don't have to worry about it. Because there's nobody that would fall into that category for me. And if I want to give somebody something, I give it to them. I don't necessarily expect it in return, but that doesn't mean I'm going to keep giving it to them. You know what I mean? Like if I buy someone a gift, it's probably a one-off and that's it. Again, this person talking shit, like, oh, they're codependent. Oh, they bought me all this shit and I didn't buy them nothing. They're a bunch of suckers. Never has the facts, makes shit up, lies. I mean, they don't know who you are on the inside. They don't know what you were thinking when, the two of you were together necessarily. They don't know everything. Let's put it like that. This is someone that just comes off, this stalker comes off very untruthful. Like they probably wouldn't have been truthful with you about very much, honestly. And you could have realized that at some point as well. Like, hey, this guy, this dude, this dudette, whatever, like they're not being honest with me. This person is stalking you. They're obsessed. And we know what stalking means nowadays. It means online presence. So if you're online, they're probably watching your social media from fake accounts. They could be watching your social media from their account. I mean, who knows? I've had that. People very bold and ballsy. Not that it matters, because at the end of the day, I just don't give a shit. This person is toxic. Okay. It says possessive, karmic, unhealthy. Definitely. If you do not have a social media presence, again, the only other thing I can think of, because I'm not I'm not getting like dangerous, like, oh, like they follow you at night or they sit out in your driveway or they're standing out in the field looking in your window. I'm not getting like dangerous vibes. But if they're not watching you via social media, they're probably keeping tabs on you through like mutual friends, family members, whatever the case, coworkers, take your pick. You're ignoring this person. I don't think you have anything to do with this person. I think you're out there doing your own thing. I think you moved on, however long that took for you. Everybody, it takes people a different amount of time to get over a person, depending on if you were married, if you were just friends with benefits, if you were casual, if you were in a relationship for a year or 10 years. I don't know how long it took you to move on, but you moved on. You're living in your light, whatever that means for you. You're happy, you're going about your business. I mean, this looks pretty happy to me. I spent I spent about an hour. I bought some film to put on your, like a privacy film to put on your window, because I had little blinds on this little window in my bathroom, in my master bath. And I'm like, the blinds, like they didn't fit them right. So like they stick over the edge on the one side. So I was like, I'm just getting rid of the blinds. Like, I don't like the blinds. I'm getting rid of the blinds. So I bought this film on Amazon. It was one of the last purchases before um, my big protest. Um, it's a small window, so it, like, here is probably the first panel where it unlocks and it goes up, and then here would be the second panel, which is, it stays put, it doesn't open or anything. But the way it is in the bathroom, I only needed to put the film on the first panel. The other panel I can just leave open. No, I mean, nobody's gonna see in there. And even if they do, like, they're not gonna see me nude or anything like that. So I cut the film to fit the panel. I took the blinds off. I cut the film. I put the film up. Um, and the whole time I didn't think about anybody from my past. Can you believe that? An hour of my time doing home improvement stuff, and not once did I think about my family, my ex-best friend, um, any other number of ignoramuses out there that think that I'm just waiting for them to call. No, completely unbothered, completely living my life, completely doing everyday bullshit, because that's what you do when you're a homeowner. You fix up your home, you change it, you improve it, you make it your home. I wasn't thinking about anybody from my past. I was out there doing my own thing. And I think you are too. But this stalker like thinks you're waiting by the phone. This stalker still thinks like you're codependent, like you're dependent on them. Like, oh, they must be waiting for me to call. Maybe I'll call them in another year. Sucker. Like, this person is, it is someone very much in their ego, because who would think like that? Who would think like that? I'm going to be honest, okay? Talking about the guy that I was seeing for 4 or 5 months in 2023 that swung back around a month ago. When I first broke up with him in July of 2023, he kept trying to contact me for, what was it, like 2, 3 weeks? He kept calling me, texting me. Finally, I blocked him because I was just like, no. I ran into him twice at the beach, at the Southport Marina in by Lake Michigan in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I ran into him twice. The first time, I called out his name and he didn't hear me. And he kept running and I kept going. Like I had stopped, but then I kept going. And then I saw him a second time. I had walked out to watch the sunrise, walked back from the pier, was in my car getting ready to leave, and he was just pulling up in his car and getting out of his car and going for a run. Now he runs around the whole one. It's like 10 miles worth of like beachfront and stuff there. He runs the whole 10 miles and back. Runs, walks, whatever. He got out of his car and he started walking, and I started up my car and I left. I had two opportunities to like change the course of history, as it were, right? Um, and I did not. And like I said, after about 2 weeks, I want to say, um, I blocked him because I didn't want him. I didn't want him calling me and texting me and all that stuff. It's like, you don't need to do that. And then again, like middle of October, I found out he was already in a relationship with someone else who he is currently in a relationship with. I'm not going to lie. When we broke up in July, I figured he would probably get into this relationship with this woman and maybe within a year would break up, whatever the case may be. She lives in Michigan. He lives here. I didn't realize at the time until he swung back around a month ago. I didn't realize how far away she actually lived. I thought maybe it was like Michigan by Indiana, like maybe 2-3 hours away. No, it's like 6 hours away, one way. So, but I thought, okay, maybe like in a year, like they'll break up and he'll try and come back. Well, that never happened. And by the time that year mark came, like that wasn't even on my mind. Like, like I was not at all in that mindset. Like I was not waiting for him to call or text or to come by my place or anything like that. And the funny thing is when he reached out to me a month ago, I was shocked. You're talking a little more than a year and a half, like a year and what, 7 months, something like that. I was shocked. I was like, like you're reaching out to me now? Um, and I've said before, I think he's realizing he doesn't really belong in that relationship with that woman. I think he's a little lost right now, personally. Um, like I said, I put him in his place multiple times, telling him I'm not interested in being the other woman. Um, and I have not talked to him since I think Tuesday, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Um, I didn't block him or anything. I didn't re-block him or anything like that, but I muted our conversation on Messenger because I'm like I don't like I'm not at your beck and call, and I'm never really on Messenger anyway. Um, when that popped up that Sunday morning, when that popped up saying, "Hey, you got a message from this guy," I was like, I don't ever get messages on Messenger. Like everybody either texts me or like we'll talk through like social media, like TikTok or something, Facebook, something like that. Um, so yeah, um, when he swung back around over a year and a half later, I was shocked. Like I was not waiting around. Whoever you are, you're not waiting around. But this stalker thinks you're waiting around. And they're really getting nosy. Like this is someone, again, they could be going to like mutual friends or if they know your family members or something. Like they want to know what you have going on. And it's natural, right? Because if you're not reaching out to this person, if you are unbothered, if you don't care, if you moved on, they're stumped. They don't understand. Like, what do you mean you're not coming back? What do you mean you're not going to call me? What do you mean you moved on? What do you mean you're dating someone else? The sad thing is, and I'm going to make a generalization, but I'm going to make it because I have seen it so many freaking times, not just in people that I got into sexual relationships with, but like friends, family members. I'm making a generalization. It's always the person that says that you're something that they're actually that something. This stalker saying that, oh, you're codependent. It's funny. You're codependent. You need me. You want me. Look who can't let go. The codependent stalker. It's always the one that blames somebody else or says somebody else is something else. They're the ones that are that. I've seen that so many times, so many times. And I've told you guys this before. I have literally had family members and friends, close friends, and my own family literally look at me and act as though I can't live on my own. I don't know how to take care of myself. I don't know how to pay bills. I, what? I don't know how to make money work. I don't know how to support myself. I don't know how to hold down a job. And I've told you guys before, this is my third house that I've owned. I've bought 3 cars, 1 for me, 2 for the ex-husband. All of my jobs, almost all of my jobs I've had for years. I was at Yankee Candle for almost 8 years. I was at Fannie Mae Candies, which if you live in the Midwest, you know what Fannie Mae Candies is. I was there for almost 8 years. For the second time, I worked there twice. I worked there for 2 years before I went to Yankee Candle. I worked at Dominic's when I was a kid for like 2 years, 3 years, 2.5 years maybe. I've been at my job now in the warehouse since 2019. It's 2025. I'm coming up on my 6-year anniversary. Like, I'm not a flighty person. Like, when I get a job and I like it, I stick with it. I make more money now than I ever did. And I'm single. I take care of myself. I'm on my 3rd home ownership. This is my 3rd home that I've owned. I just refinanced to bring down my interest rate, to get rid of my PMI. And I guarantee you that there's somebody out there that still thinks I'm incompetent, that still thinks I can't take care of myself, that still says, oh, she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Hello? And it's always the people that say that project that onto you. It's them. They're codependent. They thought you were going to swing back around. You didn't swing back around. Now they're like, maybe I should swing back around. Maybe you should stay in the past where you belong, sir and or ma'am. I'm going to let it go there. I hope the message resonated for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope, if anything, you found it entertaining. I hope you enjoyed my little story time. I hope you don't swing back around for this person. I think it would be absolutely hilarious to watch them swing back around for you. Not gonna lie. Talk to you later. Bye.